אנחנו בדרך לניצחון מוחלט.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Wednesday rejected Hamas's proposal for a ceasefire,
זה עניין של חודשים.
saying at a news conference that total victory in Gaza was within reach, adding that success was not a question of years or decades, but a matter of months, and pledging to destroy the Palestinian Islamist group that held sway in the densely populated and now war-shattered enclave. Hamas had proposed a ceasefire of 4.5 months, during which the militants would release all the remaining Israeli hostages. In exchange, Hamas demanded Israel withdraw its troops from the Gaza Strip, followed by an agreement on an end to the war. But Israel has repeatedly ruled out anything other than a temporary ceasefire to effect the return of captives or that leaves Hamas in control of Gaza. The Hamas offer, the contents of which were first reported by Reuters, is a response to an earlier proposal drawn up by American and Israeli spy chiefs and delivered to Hamas last week by Qatari and Egyptian mediators. Israel responded to the October 7th attacks with a devastating air and ground operation inside the Gaza Strip. The onslaught was interrupted but once, when a 7-day truce allowed for the release of more than 100 captives in exchange for scores of Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails.
Haven't seen them in a long time. Yeah, a few weeks.
Netanyahu's rejection of the Hamas offer comes after an intense diplomatic effort to reach a negotiated pause in the fighting. The Israeli leader met earlier in the day with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, where they discussed the Hamas proposal. A senior Hamas official told Reuters Netanyahu's rejection showed the Israeli leader intended to pursue conflict in the region. Another senior Hamas member said the group would send a delegation to Cairo on Thursday to pursue further ceasefire talks with Egypt and Qatar.
At yesterday's summit, world leaders endorsed the United Nations Security Council. The primary platform for questions of global peace is deadlocked by geopolitical fissures. This is not the first time the Council has been divided, but it is the worst. Today's dysfunction is deeper and more dangerous. During the Cold War, well-established mechanisms helped manage superpower relations. In today's multipolar world, such mechanisms are missing. And so our world is entering in an age of chaos.
إذا سمحت ابعد عن عفوي علي. أيوة. ارجع لورا. يعتبر كريم الحرية. أيوة. خليك ورايا يا أبو.
We had an opportunity today to discuss with the Israeli government the response that Hamas sent last night to the proposal that the United States, Qatar, and Egypt had put together to bring the remaining hostages home and extend the humanitarian pause. What I can tell you about these discussions is that while there are some clear non-starters in Hamas's response, we do think it creates space for agreement to be reached. And we will work at that relentlessly until we get there.
Non-starters in the Hamas proposal.
Let's see if we could.
The situation is dire, and clearly Hamas is violating every rule of human behavior in this respect. I also believe that as such, whilst we are not hearing or getting any information about our hostages, we are accommodating and facilitating humanitarian aid as part of our belief and our commitment to the rules of international humanitarian law.
There are so many innocent men, women, and children who are suffering as a result of the attacks perpetrated by Hamas and now being caught in a crossfire of Hamas's making. We all have an obligation to do everything possible to get the necessary assistance to those who so desperately need it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Right now, defending themselves against a Russian onslaught. There is some movement, and I don't want to, well, maybe choose my words. There's some movement. There's been a response from the opposition, but yes, I'm sorry, from Hamas, but it seems to be a little over the top. We're not sure where it is. There's a continuing negotiation right now.
Mr. President, if
We're going to secure the border and fund these other programs.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for coming this morning.
I want to say that every night I go to sleep and I think about my father. I think about him the whole day. Every time I put a blanket on my shoulders, I think of his cold shoulders. I hope that his mental well-being is okay. I hope that he has the strength. It's very hard to survive something when you're frail. It's hard to survive it anyway, but when you're frail, it's that much harder.
هنالك استهداف للمنزل، إذن استهداف المنزل.
الجيش قدام وصول الطخ وضمور
ابعد من هسه في واحد مقاصد يعني كلهم خلصوا وصلوا جميع. بقوا في الدار هذيك لا الحمراء اللي فوق.
آليات الاحتلال العسكرية تحت الجرافات هنا عملت على هدم أجزاء من هذه المناطق.